So you'll see my Lakshadweep vlogs, and maybe you want to visit Lakshadweep as well. So I'll give you all the information you need to come here. I'll tell you about how I got here to Lakshadweep, and I'll give you all the prices and some tips as well. And I'll tell you about what went wrong here on the cruise ship too. It wasn't plain perfect sailing, okay? And you should come to Lakshadweep once in your life. It has India's best waters, best sea life. It's the best place for crystal clear waters and scuba diving in India. It has great food and super friendly locals. And actually a lot of people are going to ask, what's the difference between Andaman and Nicobar Islands to Lakshadweep? Which one should I go to? Well, you should go to both. I'm traveling all of India and I've been to every single state except for Odisha so far. But if I had to compare Andamans and Lakshadweep, Lakshadweep is just that more remote and therefore that much more pristine and unspoiled. Andamans is still an amazing option, right? But Lakshadweep is just that much better because it doesn't have a booming tourist industry. And yeah, Andamans is a lot more developed, obviously. Just a few things about Lakshadweep. So it's India's smallest union territory. It's about 36 islands, although I'm sure there's a lot more islands here. There's a lot of tiny islands out there. It's a mostly Muslim population, 96% Muslim. Most people are fishermen. They spend their time out on the sea. People here have a great affinity with the sea. And their diet is a non-vegetarian diet, and they especially live off fish and chicken. I found that most people here speak Hindi, especially in the tourism sector, and there's a lot of English spoken here as well, along with Malayalam. And on Minicoy, for example, they have their very own language which comes from the Maldives. The text is just so different. It's not Urdu, it's not Hindi. And if you want to come here, the best time is between October to April. We're here in late September and there's been a little bit of rain left over from the monsoon, but as soon as we got to the beaches, like the weather came out for us and it was perfect. So we didn't actually have any issues. The only issue I'll talk about later was that we took the first sailing of this cruise package, which was a big mistake, but more on that later. And this is the only part of India where I'm going to suggest that you use a travel agent because it is such a difficult place to organize. It's difficult to get the tickets on this cruise. It sells out every single year. And then if you're going to take the flight route, you have to organize transfers between islands, and it's just difficult. There's not much internet on these islands, so how can you get in contact with them? A travel agent is just the best way. And I'm not going to give you the travel agent that I use. I don't do sponsored deals, I don't do brand deals, so I won't sell you anything, okay? So that's why you can trust me in my advice. So if you want to find a travel agent to book, go to Google, search for a travel agent and check the reviews, okay? And just make sure you can trust that person with your money because you're going to be sending them a ton of money up front to get here. Mine worked out fine and perfect. So to get here, you've got two options. You can cruise or you can fly, and both are very different. Both visit completely different islands. So the cruise is going to cost you between 24,000 to 32,000 rupees, depending on if you want second class or first class like I'm in here. And I've done an entire tour of this cruise ship, so go and check that out. And if you want to fly, it's going to cost you between 56,000 for a single person to 80,000 rupees for two people. So those are the basic prices. The cruise is a lot cheaper. That was just my cruise mate, so we are bunking together. I traveled here alone, so they pair you up with somebody else. So let me tell you about what I did before I tell you about the details about flying and the itinerary. So I jumped on the Lakshadweep Samudram tour. Samudram means sea in Hindi. And it's basically a 5-day tour around 3 islands. So you go to Minicoy, you go to Kalpeni, and you go to Kavaratti. If you fly here, it's totally different, the islands that you'll visit. And there's about 180 passengers on this ship. And it has everything. You're eating, they supply your food, they supply the transportation to the island. And so how one day works is you wake up, you have breakfast at 7 a.m. and then at 8 a.m. they put you on boats and they take you to whatever island you're visiting. Then you spend a day on that island, and they're incredible islands. I'll tell you about all 3 of them soon. and you spend the day on that island like doing kayaking, swimming, snorkeling, scuba diving, and then you have lunch at 1 p.m. on the island, and the food on the island is so much better than the food on the cruise ship. I've done a food review of this cruise ship, so watch that as well. And then in the afternoon, they usually take you for some kind of cultural activities. So you go and meet the locals on the island or visit the lighthouse, and then about between 4 and 5 p.m. they bring you back to the ship, and the ship is sailing again by 7, and then you have dinner at 8 p.m. in the cafeteria downstairs here. And the ship's name is MV Kavaratti, and Kavaratti is the capital of the Lakshadweep Islands. It is a totally unexplored place, and I made another video exploring the entire island. And now people will ask, like, which island is best for scuba diving, which is best for swimming? Minicoy is undoubtedly best for swimming. There is this incredible lagoon. I think it's the biggest lagoon on the island. The swimming there is out of this world. The kayaking there is out of this world. Kalpeni is fantastic for snorkeling. They basically take you on these little boats to this tiny island. They're just tiny, and you can go snorkeling from there, just from walking out to the snorkeling. And then thirdly, so scuba diving. There's no best place for scuba diving. The scuba diving is great everywhere. I've seen videos from each island, and it's good anywhere. The waters are crystal clear, and you will see a lot of living coral. That's the big difference. There's a lot of living coral here compared to the Andamans. In the beginner's dive course at the Andamans, everything was kind of dead, and it all looked a bit murky. But here it's crystal clear, and the corals are alive, and you can see that, and so many fish. So I did my diving at Kavaratti, and it was amazing. I really enjoyed that, and apparently it was the best spot out of Kalpeni and Minicoy as well. But you know, every spot has something slightly different, and anybody can do scuba diving. It's called a tri scuba. So go and check out another video where I've gone scuba diving, and I show you the exact experience and how to get ready and everything. There's a Lakshadweep playlist so you can find all these videos, okay? So there's kind of 3 problems that I've faced on this cruise ship, the MV Kavaratti. Firstly, the toilet flush did not work. So I was having to get the butt sprayer, spray that, and then this is a dual action method. Get a big bucket of water and pour the bucket of water down as well at the same time to, you know, drop the kids off at the pool. And eventually they got down. They got on the water slide and they were gone. Second problem, there is brown water coming out of these taps. I don't know if that's normal on a cruise ship, but yeah, it's not too good. And third and biggest problem was we left Kochi 13 hours late. So we lost an entire day on Kalpeni Island. Instead of arriving at Kalpeni Island at 8 a.m. we arrived at like 3:30, so we just had a few hours, and it was very, very rushed around the island. That was a real shame, and that was because basically a lot of things aren't maintained here in India. Maintenance isn't done. So this cruise ship had been sitting for 4 months, and nobody had thought to, you know, fix the engine a week out before this cruise started. They were still fixing the frickin' engine the day we were leaving, and that's why we were delayed by 13 hours. It doesn't inspire much confidence in you when you arrive on the ship and it's not leaving because you can see engineers fixing the engine. Yeah, really, really bad. Maintenance is a very important thing, and it should be done days in advance before a big cruise. So this was the first day of the cruise season, and we're on the very first cruise. So yeah, maybe try and avoid that very first cruise of the season. And actually, I guess we were lucky that they didn't cancel the cruise, you know, they just didn't entirely cancel it. So those are the problems I had on the MV Kavaratti. Not too big issues, but yeah, missing out on one day, an entire day on an island when you've only got 3 days and 3 islands is, yeah, it sucks. Now to flying, it is more expensive. So 81,000 for a couple and 56,000 if you're traveling alone. So a lot more than this cruise ship. And the value of this cruise ship is just incredible. Everything is included, all 3 meals, all the transfers. It's just incredible value. You have to pay about 2,000 rupees for scuba diving, but you know, that's nothing. That must be the cheapest scuba diving in the world. And they're totally, what is it called? certified by PADI, the Scuba Diving Association. So flying, you're going to arrive in Agatti, then they're going to take you to Kavaratti, and then you're going to go to two totally different islands. You're going to go to Thinnakara and Bangaram. And I think a lot of foreigners will take the flight route because you can't drink on the Lakshadweep Islands, but you can drink on Bangaram Island. There's just one island where you can drink. So I think a lot of foreigners will fly and do it that way. And again, that price for the flight tour, it includes everything except for the flights. So accommodation, all your meals, and your speedboat transfers between islands. You really kind of have to do both if you want to experience, 6 different islands here in Lakshadweep. A lot of the islands aren't open to tourists at all, okay? I think there's only about 12 islands that are actually open. And actually a lot of the islands at Lakshadweep you still can't visit. They've only opened a few.
Attention, Cadet Mohafis, contact bridge. Cadet Mohafis, contact bridge. Thank you.
So there's a speaker in this room and every 10 minutes there's an announcement in the morning. So annoying, but it wakes you up for breakfast. So like I was saying, most islands here at Lakshadweep you can't visit. There's about 10 or so which they have opened up for tourists. And you don't need any kind of special permits anymore. You just need a tourist visa and you can visit Lakshadweep. They're making it easier for us. So both the cruise and the flights go to totally different places, and you can't fly here and then go to Minicoy. Minicoy is too far away. You have to get on this cruise if you want to go to Minicoy, okay? So that's one big difference. So both the cruise and the flight are totally different and you're visiting different places. So which one do you do now? I think if you want the cruise ship experience and you want the easiest method possible where absolutely everything is organized for you down to what you're doing during the day, take the cruise. It has been an incredible experience and super easy for me as a solo traveler. It's definitely the best thing for a solo traveler. And if you're a government employee, you will get a massive discount on this cruise as well. Now flying, because Minicoy is so far away from the other islands, it's something like 11 hours from Kavaratti. How are you going to get a boat there, nah? So that's the reason why the flying and the cruise destinations are different. You can't go to Minicoy if you fly to Lakshadweep, where you're going to get a boat that's going to take you 11 hours to Minicoy. So that's one of the big differences. If you fly and if you cruise, you have different island options, okay? So you kind of have to do both. I haven't done the flight trip, but I will do it at some point, okay? I will come back and go to those other 2 islands that you get on the flight. And I think the flight is best if you're in a small group. It's going to bring the price down if you have a group of like 2 or more. And you want to if you want to drink as well, because you can drink on Bangaram Island. I'm not sure how those islands could beat Minicoy and Kalpeni. And Kavaratti, those were incredible islands to visit. I'm not sure how it can get any better than those 3. So I'd have to come back and find out. But yeah, cruise if you're maybe if you're single or in a small family type situation and you don't want to drink. Fly if you want to drink and you specifically want to go to those 2 islands that are on offer, and maybe you're in a small group so you can bring the price down. You can have a nice private tour of Lakshadweep that way. And I've done a tour of one of the resorts here, one of the government resorts here in India. So yeah, that is in the Minicoy video. So you can see what kind of accommodation you'll be staying at. It is quite nice. There are a number of things that you need to bring here if you're coming to Lakshadweep. Do not forget these things. So sunblock. Even the Indians here are getting burned. It's crazy. So I'm like kind of brown here, and then you come up here and it's all white and my shoulders are burned. I didn't put it on my shoulders. So you gotta have sunblock. You gotta have mosquito repellent. In the morning and in the evening, if you're on the islands, the mosquitoes will come out. Seasickness pills. Oh my God, you get used to the swaying, but if there's rough seas, it can really make you feel sick. During this video, you might have seen it swaying like that, So don't forget seasickness pills. There is a hospital here, but it's always best to carry your own medication. So bring all your medication as well, okay? You're gonna need sandals for the beach. It goes without saying that's the easiest way to get around the beach. Bring some really good, preferably polarized sunglasses, because those are gonna cut all the reflections and all the sunlight off the water so you can just see better everywhere. And then you're going to need to bring cash. There aren't ATMs on most of the islands, or they won't have time to take you to an ATM if you forget your cash, okay? And then finally, alcohol is completely banned here except for Bangaram Island. So do not bring it on the cruise and do not bring it on the flight either. You will get in trouble here. And when it comes to mobile networks on the island, you're gonna need to get a BSNL SIM. It works on every single island, so you can at least make phone calls out of Lakshadweep. They say there's 4G, but nah, it is not 4G. It is 2G. It's less than 2G, the speeds. The speeds are horrendous. And it comes for 2 seconds, and then it comes back 2 hours later. So it's basically unusable internet here. So yeah, forget about the internet entirely. The best reception you're gonna find is on Kavaratti because it's the capital city of Lakshadweep, obviously. Airtel is available on I think like 2 islands, but yeah, 2 islands is probably not the ones you're visiting anyway, so you're gonna need to get BSNL SIM. And yeah, good luck with that. Oh my God. I think BSNL is government run, so it's very, very difficult, time consuming, and a long process to get that SIM card working, but it'll be worth it if you wanna make phone calls out of here, okay? So don't forget to check out my Lakshadweep playlist. That'll give you all the information you need about traveling here at Lakshadweep so you can have an incredible time here in incredible India. And if you want to support the content that I create, if you want to allow me to keep devoting my life to traveling in India and bringing you content from incredible India, hit that join button below, become part of the Rock Army, and get exclusive member-only benefits. Jai Hind.